I'm just reading that close to 80% of the Dutch went and voted. That is massive, I think, in the UK. Normally you barely make 50, don't you? Yeah, 80%, 78.2%. The guy who's won, he's the guy with the dyed hair. He's often likened to Hitler. He's a very strange character. He's himself married to a Hungarian woman, but absolutely hates immigrants. Out of 150 seats in the Dutch lower house, he's won 37. He was predicted to get around about 25, so that would be 1/6. So 15% of the vote. He used to just have 1 or 2 seats, but he used to always, in this horrendous system that is proportional representation, he used to make up the majority. So the right-wing party, VVD, that was Mark Rutte's party, who are now completely disgraced and almost, well, close to wiped out. Close to wiped out is an overstatement, but, you know, they've lost big time. Especially if you look at the map, on the map they indicate blue for Wilders or, you know, different colours for different parties, and the VVD are just nowhere to be seen, a couple of strongholds. So anyway, in this proportional representation, the VVD and Christian Democrats, they tended to be the two ruling parties, but they never actually had the 75 seats, or they would maybe together make to 74 seats, but obviously they needed 76 to have a majority in the lower house. So they would invite this Wilders guy, or the Christian Union, which was even worse, fundamentalist Christians in the Dutch government, to make up the numbers. And then, of course, people think PR is a brilliant idea. But the party, the smallest party, holds the balance of power, because if they say, we don't like what you're doing, we don't like that you're not actually carrying out our manifesto, you just do as you please, but hang on a minute, we've got a say in this. And if they walk out, the government crashes over 1 or 2 seats out of 150. So it's completely anti-democratic. It's not more democratic. It's completely anti-democratic that the smallest party blackmails an entire country. So he has now got 37 seats. Another party, which is called NSC, who are also very right-wing, was born out of the whole child tax credit scandal. The new social contract, NSC, they also won a fair number of seats. This is a really new party, and it was born from the child tax credit scandal that caused the entire Rutte government to resign, I think, 2 years ago, and then miraculously they were back again. But he is basically a stickler for the Constitution and for the rule of law, whereas Wilders is anything but. He has been trying for the last 20 years, he's been trying actively to create a two-tier citizenship basis for anyone who's not, white and blue-eyed, basically, who's not Aryan, shall we say, call the creature by its name. So all immigrants will be second-rate citizens, based on their origin and their creed. And then particularly Muslim, of course, not the expats. Heaven forbid anybody says anything about, or the Chinese. No, the Muslims. So this is completely unconstitutional. But he's apparently said, after the results of the elections became known, he said he is willing, oh my God, the gesture, the grandiose gesture, he is willing to uphold the Constitution. Like, what is that even? What mentality does it require to do that? I don't understand. The bottom line of the elections is that nobody on the left, but nobody on the left, is willing to create a coalition with this man because he's so odious. He's anti-Europe, which is, sorry, not anti-Europe, anti-EU, as am I. But many Dutch people are. Obviously, Holland was at the cradle of the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. So the Dutch are overwhelmingly pro-EU. Then he's anti-immigration, which is very difficult because Holland actively invited Turkish and Moroccan immigrants back in the 70s to come and work in their tomato and flower greenhouses and bulb fields and what have you. And then were highly surprised when these people said, "Oh, life's good here, I think I'll stay." So back in I think 2004, I translated a PhD from Dutch into English, and it was about the rise of the extreme right wing all over Europe, including Britain, UKIP, and here Pim Fortuyn in the Netherlands, who was murdered. The rise of the extreme right wing, and especially the financing of the extreme right wing. And if you had to take who supplied the money for these people, I will tell you, it was Pfizer and it was Microsoft. Big sums of money to all the extreme right-wing parties. So for someone who's anti-globalization to actually, it came via the Edmund Burke Foundation, which is a very questionable institution, one of these many shady NGOs. So anyway, no one on the left will want to govern with this man. So it looks like it'll be an extreme right-wing coalition. So PVV won the 37 seats. So they're that new social contract who are basically saying, you know, the politics as we've had it for the last 20 years is completely dead. We need a new kind of politics with much more respect for the citizen and much more respect for the rule of law. They have 20 seats. The Christian Democrats, who were always the biggest party in Holland, always, they are now reduced to a mere 5 seats. And then the VVD, which is like the moderate conservatives, if you like, they have 24, and the farmers have 7 seats. So there you go.